Nice team for the weekend. Thank you.
The team to play Wales this Saturday is Cian Healy, Rory Best captain, Andrew Porter, James Ryan, Dev Toner, Peter O'Mahony, Dan Levy and CJ Stander, Connor Murray, Johnny Sexton, Jacob Stockdale, Bundy Aki, Chris Farrell, Keith Earls and Rob Carney. And the replacements are Sean Cronin, Jack McGrath, John Ryan, Quinn Rue, Jack Conan, Kieran Marmion, Joey Carberry and Fergus McFadden.
Joe, in relation to the enforced replacements, three of them, how close were, obviously Robbie wasn't considered, but how close was Ian Henderson and Ty Furlong making?
Ian was definitely the closer of the two. Ian could probably play on Saturday, but he wasn't able to complete training today, and we're not going to risk him. I just don't think it's worth it with what's coming up, and also you don't want to put a player at risk of further injury. So Ian was very close. I think he could definitely play next weekend, and certainly the weekend after that he will be fine. Ty was close as well. We thought on Tuesday that Ty, he may well make it, but the progress just stalled a little bit, and so we just said, no, look, let's not chase this. Let's focus on the opportunity for other people and get you right for Scotland in a couple of weeks' time.
Those other people, notably Andrew and Chris particularly, how do you think they will cope with this big occasion and this big opportunity for them?
Look, after just over 3 minutes last weekend, Andrew Porter had to come on to replace Tig and did a sterling job for 76 and a half minutes. So he acquitted himself really well. I know it's not the same level. Rob Evans is a tricky customer. And the angles and stepping around, all those are going to be really good learning experiences for Andrew Porter, and they've got to learn somewhere, and this is a really good opportunity for them.
Just on the loss of 3 lines, so from your starting 15, how significant is that in your view?
Well, they're world-class players. You don't suddenly replace world-class players, but we're a lot more focused on who we do have. And who we do have is Andrew Porter, who's a really promising young player that we're excited about. James Ryan, likewise. Chris Farrell, I've been talking to Chris Farrell for 3 or 4 years, and he's been a project, a long-term project, and I thought he did really well against Argentina and only a second test. So, yeah, we're short on experience, and we're up against a team that are welcoming back 3 lines while we see 3 disappear. So, yes, that's not ideal, but at the same time, if you want to learn, what better environment than in what will be a really white-hot atmosphere in the Aviva on Saturday.
Joe, how does it affect the rest of the pack when you have to replace someone in the front row, especially someone of Tide's experience?
Well, I think Cian's probably a better place to answer that, but there's been no let up in the real scrum focus, and that is exactly the same in the line out as well without Ian. We are ready to test the strength of our squad, and we're always ready to test the strength of our squad, and we would like to think that can be as seamless as possible. So I think the forward pack, they still have just as much enthusiasm for what they need to roll their sleeves up and get ready for on Saturday.
When you put Andrew and Chris into a game like this, obviously you're convinced they're ready, but is there always kind of a question mark until they actually play it? The intensity of this game and in a game like this, or is it a case of you're convinced they're ready and that's that?
I think there's always question marks. I know Rory Best, with over 100 caps, asks himself questions before he plays. In a documentary last year after we managed to beat the All Blacks, Andrew Trimble revealed that he questions himself on the morning of every test match he plays after 60 test matches. So you're always questioning yourself because you know that your opponent is a very good player. You know that there are circumstances you don't control in the game, and there are going to be scenarios that come up that you'd like to think you're prepared for, but you don't know how you're going to cope. So for a player who hasn't been there before, yeah, it's a bit more pressure. The unknown is always a fear for pretty much any human being, and there is a little bit about the unknown going into this weekend.
Cian, if I can put that question about the pack to you and how it affects things, the changes, and how you see the challenge of this Wales pack this weekend. It's one of the kind of the main battlegrounds of this game, and I guess any other as well, to be fair.
I think if you look at Ports, firstly, over the last year and a half, what he's had to take in his stride and changing sides of the scrum and how he's developed that part of his game, it's more exciting and nervous to see what he's going to provide. You know, he's a very talented player, strong lad, and he's pretty comfortable to scrummage with. You know, you don't feel like there's any deficit. And then there's the freak show that is James Ryan. He just keeps producing, so you know, it's exciting as well. And to have his energy in behind you in the scrum is brilliant. Now he'll be behind Ports, so that's going to be a strong side.
Joe, in the past, I suppose your first occasion playing Wales aside, you somewhat struggled to break the Welsh defence down. From what you've seen in the opening 2 rounds of this year's tournament, is there anything to suggest they're any weaker than they have been in the past when you've met them?
Yeah, I think they've all been one-score games, apart from last year where they got a charge down right at the end when we played. But apart from that, you know, we went over the line and got the ball down, but were penalised, you know, legitimately because we joined the maul in front of where the ball was at the time. So, you know, that's how fine the margins are. So I don't think it's too much different from any other game that we play. The way they're playing at the moment and the way Rob Howley has them with the width they're playing with, Dan Bigger, you know, him coming in, 60-cap veteran, with a real understanding of the game, I think we just have to be ready for whatever they throw at us. And I've no doubt that they're going to vary their game up. They drive a lot of lineouts, so we've got to be ready for that. They play the ball in the air a lot because they have good guys going after it, and they will also play with width. So I think what we've got to do is make sure that we are ready for whatever they throw at us, and that we don't give them too many access points to be able to play in whatever way they choose.
Joe, taking the ref and the way around it, if Wales are made to make 250 tackles again, if the ball's in play for 46 minutes again, could you expect Ireland to win the game, like in comparison to last season?
I don't have an expectation other than the players are going to work hard. We have a plan. They will work hard to make sure that our defensive plan is put in place, the attacking plan is put in place, and then those fine margins will determine the result. As I said last year, even 2 years ago when they were here, I think we led 13-3, and they got a scrum platform that in the end Toby Faletau scored off, that they kept that pressure on, and in the end it was a 16-all draw on the back of us having a number of players missing. And history, if it does repeat itself, we're in a similar circumstance this time as well. We're going to have to demonstrate that there is a strength of squad, and we're excited about getting the opportunity to do that. As far as those fine margins are concerned, as I mentioned last year, we hit the front with 15-9, we get the ball over the line, we kick that goal with 16-15 up. So I don't see that there's a huge amount wrong with the plan, because at that stage we'd had the yellow card, and they'd scored when Johnny was off the pitch at one stage, and then when the yellow card was there. So we'd hope to have the discipline not to allow them that. Those are the fine margins. I don't think, if you looked at the difference between the way the two teams played, that there was a heck of a lot between the two teams. And that's why people get really excited about this game. They know that these games are usually one-score games. Do I have confidence that if we force them to make 250 tackles, that we can get the result? You've got to be confident that you're capable of getting the result. And if you force them to work that hard, you would like to think that you can get the result.
Has Ireland's attack improved from that game to now?
I thought if you look at line breaks, we make a great line break right at the start of the game, and Moriarty doesn't release. There's no yellow card for that one. And on the back of that, I think if we get that ball quickly from Simon, I think we could score. And that, I can't really say how many times that they're fine margins that if you don't get them, it's very hard to manufacture them from somewhere. I think even toward the end of that game, there's a great chance in the right-hand corner from a great attacking couple of phases of play. 74 minutes gone, and we're inches away from scoring. When you get that close, I think that you're capable of doing it. It's just, can you do it on the day? I certainly hope so.
And what you're saying, Joe, it looks as if you're not going to change very much. You don't feel you need to change very much.
Well, what can you change? It's a game of rugby. Sometimes we kick, sometimes we run wide, sometimes we go through the middle. I think if anyone tried to analyse what we do, there is a lot of variety in what we do. And I think that the times that we've not quite managed to get the result against Wales, we've probably had as much of the game as they have, and we haven't quite been able to put the game away. But for me, it's another game of rugby where we get the opportunity to try to get as many of those fine margins to fall in our favour. And I just know that the players will work as hard as they can to make sure they do. Do we play slightly differently from 2 years ago? I think anyone who does analysis will say, yes, we do. There are some changes in what we do. And I'm obviously not going to explain them, but that's your guys' challenge, I guess.
Okay, guys, we'll leave it there, and we will switch into the part of it.